Who remembers this? Yes, is it etched on your mind? The thing is, this was, of course, the current British Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Sir Keir Starmer, being interviewed on Live Stories, the ITV show that really is supposed to delve deep. And the thing about it delving deep is a fallacy in itself, let me tell you. I've been approached about that show on a number of occasions to be, sort of a spotty guest, as it were. You come on and then you say these things. They tell you exactly what they want to say. The person sitting in the chair knows it all. It's a complete fakery, but of course it's there to pump up the PR. Now this, when it first came around in May 2021, was when, of course, Keir Starmer was trying to persuade us that he was sort of prime ministerial sort of material, and that actually was just a down-to-earth guy. But remember, this is a man that doesn't have a favourite book, doesn't have a favourite piece of music, doesn't dream, is an atheist. I mean, dull could not be the word, so they were struggling behind the scenes to make it work. However, they are now looking at somebody else who needs to be, shall we say, rejuvenated. Let me explain. Morning, good to see you, chums. Thank you so much for joining me today, and welcome one and all brand new subscribers. It is always nice to have your company. It's a funny thing, when you sit down with political people, and I've interviewed many over the years, the thing is, they may be geniuses. I've interviewed many, Home Secretaries and Chancellors of the Exchequer, and they might be bright, academically, but that doesn't mean they have a personality. And I'm not saying they should. If they're good at one thing, that's fine, I sort of remember one Chancellor, I've forgotten his name now, but I think it was Spreadsheet Phil, they called him. And he was a very, very clever Chancellor, but he didn't really have much in the way of a personality. Hence the reason they kept him in the background. That works in many respects. Many people feel this should have been the mantra for the current British Prime Minister, Keir Starmer. Zero personality. And, do you remember when he turned on the Christmas lights last year and he was doing the countdown? I mean, it was just terrible, wasn't it? He might as well sent out the air raid siren. It was so cringily embarrassing. One person, though, that is very sort of good at getting the headlines and winning over public perception is none other than this woman, our Angela Rayner. Now, West Streeting pointed out at the recent Labour Party conference that Ange should be invited back because we all miss her, and etc. The fact that she lied, cheated and whatever is irrelevant to Labour because they're all doing that, aren't they? Rachel Reeves, Jonathan Reynolds, they're just all a bunch of liars. So consequently, why not invite her back? Now, the rehabilitation is already in situ, as it were, simply because Ange is considering certain options. Now, this is not about the love factor between her and Keir Starmer. That's gone. Right? Because he got her to resign, and consequently there's no love lost there. But Ange sees herself eventually towering back in one of those designer outfits that she has and starting again. Oh yes, and starting again. And the idea really will be that if she sits down, relays the story in a formulated way, then why not? Why couldn't she come back? Why couldn't she be this? And the idea is to look at something like ITV's Live Stories as a one-off special, what went wrong with Ange? Because right now there are certain companies trying to circulate documentaries. The problem is with the mainstream media, let me be blunt with you, they all love the Labour Party. Everything from the BBC to ITN, you'll only ever find these scurrilous documentaries about, say, Reform UK or the Conservatives or something like that. You never find them. Nobody's done a documentary or indeed started one about Keir Starmer's whole shambles of a first year because, I don't know why, they like them. With Angela, of course, if they can agree to pave the way for this being a nice smoothie, you're terrific, you're brilliant, and the public love you, just look at the reaction. That's the idea. Now, Ange, as you know, is looking at certain options right now. And one of those is to decide which direction that she goes down. And more importantly, this is going to be an important factor because she has to convince you, the great British public, that, well, she's worth inviting back. Forget Keir, he's now dust to her, and she doesn't want to be the deputy anymore. That's not going to work. She couldn't be invited back. She wants his job, and this idea is simply the start of it. Remember, you heard it here first. Neil Shaw, Kensington, London.